All right, so today we're just going to do an introduction to some of the basic features that you need to be able to do on your TI-84 Plus. So I've got the description of the skill, I've got the keys that you should be pressing in order to enter those things, and then I've got an example problem, which is exactly what I'm going to do to show you each of these. Mine's going to look a little bit different than your calculator since it's the on-screen version, but you should have all the same buttons in the same places, so we should be able to do that. So first thing, entering a fraction, we're going to do 5/11ths minus 3/4. So notice that I've got or here because there are several different ways that you could do this. So the quickest way is to press alpha and then y equals and then choice 1. You could also press enter instead of pressing 1 there. And then just enter your numerator, enter your denominator. So now I've got the 5/11ths minus 3/4. Another option, some older versions, if you press alpha y equals, you don't have that shortcut. So another option is to press math and then scroll to fraction and then choose choice 1. And then you can do the exact same thing. Notice that it has this blinking right button. That's just telling you you need to press right to get out of that fraction denominator. So now I press enter, which is like my equal sign, and I've got -13/44, which is my answer here. So you would write that in here. If for some reason you went to the math menu and you didn't have that choice, you need to see your teacher about how to enter fractions. It could be that you just have a very old version of the calculator, and if so, your teacher can help you with that. Next thing, change a decimal to a fraction. This one's pretty easy. We're going to change 0.375 to a fraction. So we do 0.375, whatever we're trying to change. Then I do math, choice 1, and press enter. And then it does 3/8. So 3/8 is what you would write for that second example. Next is your pi button. So our example is going to be to approximate 3 pi. So the way that we can do that, press 3, and then the pi button, you can see it in blue on mine here. Yours might be yellow or it might be blue. But if I press second first, and then press that button, it types the pi. Then I can press enter, and then it says 9.424777, so on and so forth. So we would write this little squiggly equal signs, which means approximately down here. And then you could put 9.4247, or if you want to round it up to 8, you could do that because you're obviously not going to write the whole thing. Now, I do want to show you something here. If you have something on the line here, let's say that I said, oh, let me change that to a fraction. If I did math, choice 1, it would automatically take the answer from the line above and then perform that next operation on it. This one's not going to work though. That's because pi is irrational. So if you try to change something to a fraction and it won't go, that's because it can't be changed to a fraction in most cases. But notice I could also, if I wanted to do something else with an answer, I could scroll up. But I could take this answer if I wanted, and instead of changing it to a fraction, I could just press divided by 3, and it would just take the answer and give me back pi. So there is that one. Then square a value. It's the x squared button. So we're going to square -5. Now the reason why I picked this one is because I want to show you the difference. Some people, when I say square -5, they say, oh, okay, negative symbol, 5, squared key, and press enter. And it tells them -25 and they write down that. Don't do that. That is not correct. I picked this example to remind you of something that you learned probably in pre-algebra, definitely talked about it in Algebra 1, that when you are squaring a negative, you need parentheses. So if I want to square -5, I have to put the -5 in parentheses before I do the squared sign. The difference between this and this is that this one is actually taking -5 and squaring it. This one, order of operations, would say you have to do the exponent first and then multiply by -1. That's why you get different answers. Now, you should have like a common sense meter, hopefully. Remember that anything squared should always be positive. So hopefully you knew that this wasn't right just from that fact, but we can just write down 25 for that example. Maybe write yourself a note about using the parentheses so that we don't have that issue. Next one is exponent key, which looks just like it did on the scientific calculator. So if I want to take 5 to the 4th power, I would hit 5, then I'd hit that little caret exponent button, and then 4. Notice again this little blinky right arrow just tells me to get out of the exponent. I have to press the right arrow, and then I can press enter. So 625 should be our answer for that. Then next one is a square root. So we're going to take the square root of 324. Again, I've got all your keys to enter here so that you know if you forget to go back. So I press second, and then I press the x squared key, and then type in whatever you want to take the square root of. Notice that blinking right arrow again, so I press it, and then I press enter, and the square root of 324 is 18. Next one is a cube root. So you can do any root you want, but really in this class we'll just mostly be doing square roots and cube roots, so that's what I have on here. So this one is different. We're going to press math and then choice 4. We're going to do cube root of 125. So math, choice 4. Choice 5 is the any root button, but choice 4 gives me a cube root. Then I can press 125. Notice the right blinking arrow again, and then enter. Cube root of 125 is 5. Next are absolute values. So we're going to do the absolute value of 5 minus 2 times 7. So absolute value, we go to the math menu, we scroll right to the NUM, which stands for number, and we choose choice 1, ABS. So absolute value, 5 minus 2, and then times, of course, is what that dot means. And then again, blinking right arrow to get out of the absolute value. And then it tells us our answer is 9. Last one, we actually already did use the answer in the next problem, but I'm going to use it here to just take the answer we just got and divide it by 3. So I just press, I don't have to press answer if I don't need to. I can just press divided by 3. Oops, not negative, divided by 3. Enter. Now, if I had wanted to do, 5 times the answer or something, where I needed the answer to come second, I guess in that case we wouldn't need to, but you can actually put like 5 times and then press second and then negative key. So if you want it to type answer, you can have it do that anytime. Okay, so then the very last thing is we're going to do this entire thing all in one step, which is pretty cool in your graphing calculator to see. So we obviously have a huge fraction. So I'm going to go alpha y equals choice 1 to get my fraction. Then within my numerator, I've got an absolute value. So then I'm going to do math, scroll right, choose choice 1, and inside that absolute value, I've got 5 minus 2 to the 5th. So 5 minus 2, caret button, 5, and then I want to get out of there, so I'll scroll right, and then I'm going to scroll down to my denominator. The denominator then is 11/3 minus 8/12, so I've got additional fractions there. So choose those fractions, 11/3, and then scroll out of the fraction. If you just press the minus right away, the minus will go in the denominator. And so then type my second fraction, 8/12, then scroll out of the whole thing and then press enter. And the answer to that entire thing you can write down is 9. You've got some practice problems that you can work on to help you to make sure you've got these down, but make sure you've got your notes with you so you can refer to them if you forget.